What's up, buckos? It's me, Brody, and I've decided to completely retcon my last video where I said that I was going to be quitting YouTube. Guess what? I realized it's not all about the views, and today I'm gonna share with you what I thought about watching the Star Wars movies and a few shows for the first time, and my personal ranking. So yeah, let's get into it. Hi guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Brody, and in the last 6 months I've watched every single Star Wars movie and a couple of the shows. For some reason I had never wanted to really watch the movies. I was just one of the guys who was like, oh, I don't like that kind of thing, even though I'd never seen it, which was like, it might have been because I saw like The Rise of Skywalker in theaters when I was like a younger kid. I was like, I don't like that. Not a great introduction, but in the last like 6 months I watched the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy and Disney's fan fiction trilogy and Solo and Rogue One and a few of the shows. Anyway, so quick thoughts on the overall saga. If we're talking about George Lucas's 6 films, I loved that saga. The complete saga, as it's called, not the Skywalker saga. That's the Disney one. But yeah, I just think that, especially the original trilogy, has just so much immersiveness and just this special magic that just George Lucas was able to take this idea, this world in his brain, and put it onto the screen. And it blends the old with the new, the swords with the sci-fi. It's just everything about this movie. This movie was revolutionary when it came out, and I still think the effects hold up. I love the original trilogy. These are like some of my favorite movies upon like first watch last like December, and I was like, dang, I gotta get the Blu-rays for that because I'm gonna be watching that more often. They had a deep emotional connection with me. I loved everything in Return of the Jedi with Darth Vader and Luke. Probably my favorite character, Yoda. I have a Lego with him, but I forgot to bring him. So I just have these two guys. We have Dollar Store Chewbacca and Classy Jar Jar. Yeah. Okay, on to the prequel trilogy. I had a fun time with the first 2 movies. They were okay. They had a lot of cringe-worthy moments, and they were just a big step down from the original trilogy. And then we got to episode 3, and I was like, oh dang, that was actually like really good, like on par with New Hope. So, like, Revenge of the Sith has a really strong emotional core, and I think Hayden Christensen actually did a good job in that movie, as opposed to his performance in Attack of the Clones. But yeah, the movie just bears so much emotion, and a lot more stuff happens in the movie. Order 66, we got Darth Vader, like all the big stuff is happening in front of us. Yeah, I loved it. It was really good. And then Disney's fan fiction. Pretty trash, pretty cringe. Cringer than Attack of the Clones somehow. Excuse me. Anyway, yeah, I did not like those 3. And Rogue One, had a fun time. Not my favorite, but it was good. Solo, boring. That was my very kind of quick description of how I felt about the films. I think that the first 6, mostly the original trilogy, have this sort of magic to them that only a few other films, I mean not a lot of films, can capture. I'd say other examples are E.T., Jurassic Park, maybe you could say Lord of the Rings, some of the Spider-Man movies. I think these movies just have this immersive quality that really brings you into their world. Yeah, it's fantastic. I really like it. I think George Lucas is probably my favorite filmmaker now. Yeah, so you've heard what I thought about it. Let's hear the exact ranking. Okay, so let's take a look at the tier list here. And I'm just gonna fix these tier titles. They're all wrong. We have, oh shoot. We're gonna replace S with Master of Peace. I'm gonna replace A with a very great one. Was B with pretty nice. C with okay then, bud. And then D, we're gonna replace that with stinky poo. And F, M, fiction sharts. Because there's gonna be some of those here. Okay, we're gonna start off with the original A New Hope. And I really like this movie, and I think it's a very strong introduction. I don't know if I'd put it in masterpiece. I think it might be lacking a little bit of the emotional depth that the other two have, but it's still there. I think it's a very great one. A very good movie, fantastic world building, interesting characters, just lacking a little bit of the emotion that the other two movies have some more of. And Ahsoka, haven't watched it. Add a row below, and we're gonna name it Owachi. And we're gonna show Ahsoka right in there. I'm on season 1 of the original Clone Wars show, so it's gonna be a long time till I can watch this. Anyway, A New Hope, really good. Andor, this is including seasons 1 and 2. I would not put it on the level of A New Hope or most of the movies. However, I really enjoy it. I think the first season is a bit slow, a little bit too much space politics for me. Like, it doesn't feel like what I love about Star Wars, the magical, immersive world building type feeling, but I think it is a really interesting story, prequeling to Rogue One and how he got to where he was. I thought the first season was okay. It wasn't my favorite, but when season 2 came out, I was like, oh, I like that one better, because all the stuff that we wanted to see happen in season 2 happened. Season 1 was all just kind of felt like a setup for season 2 to happen. Like they needed to set up for Cassian to join the rebellion. But season 2 felt more of a step up, and I really liked episode 9, I believe. It was the one with the Gorman conflicts. That was just really interesting, and one of my favorite characters on that show was, gosh, I can't remember his name, but Dedra's boyfriend. What's his name? You know what I'm talking about. But he's a really interesting character. Someone, I forgot his name. But yeah, I think it's a really good series. Doesn't exactly feel like Star Wars to me, though. Like it. Then we're on Attack of the Clowns, episode 2. This is gonna be a little difficult, because I don't hate this movie. I think not very nice. Very nice. That's what we're gonna rename it, because this movie is not stinky poo. It's not awful. It's watchable, but it's just not very good. It's got a lot of flaws, especially in the writing and the acting. The visual effects are not too bad, especially for the time that it came out. It hasn't aged awfully. But I think what this movie does well is set up the big things we've been waiting for. It sets up the clones, or the stormtroopers, who they will eventually be. It sets up the Emperor's plan, and yeah, it sets up Anakin's arc to the dark side. And that's more than you can say about The Phantom Menace. So yeah, I think this movie has a lot of good lightsaber duels and great music, but the weak point is just in the writing. I think if it had a better script, it would be a lot better, but the story's decent, script is bad. That's the problem with this movie. But I don't hate it. I think it's fun. I like Jango Fett and the clones. So, moving on. But you know what I don't like? I don't like sand. It's Coruscant. It's everywhere. Okay, moving on. Obi-Wan Kenobi show. Not seen it. Sorry. I'm not sorry, actually. I think a lot of people don't like this show. Yeah. I haven't watched it. I'm not really feeling inclined to, but whatever. Star Wars Resistance, I believe. Nope, I haven't watched that. I'm not sure what that is, but whatever. Okay, moving on. Return of the Jedi. that is gonna go right up in S tier, or Mater of Peace. And where I think this movie does better than A New Hope is has a stronger emotional core. And after Empire, where we were revealed what's gonna be like the big conflict in the next movie, what's Luke gonna do? Is he gonna kill his father? Is he gonna join the dark side? You know, and I think this movie is very good. It tackles that very well, and I really like the ending where the son saves the father and redeems him then after the father had saved the son. And it's a nice ending, and it's a good redemption for Anakin as he's still the chosen one. And yeah, where I think this movie might be a little meandery sometimes, especially there's this one scene with the Ewoks and C-3PO on a chair and he's like floating, and that's not the best scene, but there's a lot of good stuff in here. Luke learns that Leia's his sister is great. The scene with Yoda is great because I just love Yoda, so Puppet Yoda's always gonna be my favorite version of Yoda too. It gets way too much hate for how good of a movie it actually is, and I like the Ewoks. I'm sorry, I said it, I don't hate the Ewoks. I think it's all very nice, and let's move on. We're on Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, I'm gonna put it right up here. And I am not sure about this right now, but at the moment, I'd put it above Return of the Jedi. I don't know if that's because I watched it pretty recently because of re-release, and I'm thinking about it a lot. It's such a good movie, man. It gives a believable story of how Anakin became Darth Vader and what turned him to the dark side. And it's not just like, oh, I want power. It's like he has fear and insecurity. He's gonna lose his wife. And then the tragic irony of his actions leading to the death of his wife when he's trying to save her. I think the brotherhood with Obi-Wan and Anakin is very good in this movie, and the duel between Obi-Wan and Anakin is easily the best in the entire saga. It's just so emotional. The music is fantastic. John Williams is one of my favorite composer of all time, and I think he did an amazing job on this movie. My two favorite pieces are definitely Battle of the Heroes and Anakin's Betrayal. Those are just beautiful, beautiful pieces. I think a lot of this movie is done well. Hayden Christensen actually acts pretty well. I think the standout performance is definitely Ian McDiarmid as Emperor Palpatine. But yeah, Order 66, amazing scene. I'm just like, wow. George Lucas took some of a trilogy he made that was just incredible, and he was able to make something just as good, if not better, than some of those movies. And he made it work, and it feels like a cohesive story that you can watch, like 1 through 6. Those movies feel like a cohesive story, which I think is very cool and special. So yeah, that is an S tier movie. I really like it. I don't know if it's better than Return of the Jedi, but that's my current stand. Might be recency bias, but whatever. Okay, Rogue One. I'm gonna put this above Andor and pretty nice. Because this movie has a little bit more of what was missing from Andor, more Star Wars-y stuff. It has better music than Andor. I think Andor's music is a bit overrated. Because if we're gonna be honest, guys, there's literally like 4 notes in Andor's theme. It's like 6 notes. It's like a couple chords repeated over and over. There's one motif, and I'm like, dude, it's not as good as Rogue One, or it's not even close to as good as any of the other John Williams scores. But yeah, into the movie, Rogue One is great. I think the score by Michael Giacchino is better than Andor's. Sounds a little bit like it's trying to be Star Wars, but it is, so that's alright. I think Jyn Erso is an interesting character, but I think Cassian Andor is definitely the standout in this movie, even though it's not his story. Everyone loved him, so that's why he probably got his own show, and that's why it was his prequel instead of hers. Anyway, yeah, I really like the movie. It's not my favorite because it's not exactly the most Star Wars-y. The biggest flaw in this movie, I believe, is the second act. The second act feels like it's meandering. After they go meet Saw Gerrera, that's when it starts to feel like it's meandering a bit, like they're at this random planet, and now Cassian is trying to kill her dad. Then her dad gets killed by stormtroopers or something. It's like kind of all over the place, but it gets itself back together when we come to focus on what the task at hand is, to get into the planet and get the plans to the Death Star. And that third act is fantastic. I really love the ending. There's the tension throughout the whole like last 50 minutes. So yeah, I think it's a really good prequel to A New Hope, and feels more necessary than Andor, but it's a good add-on though. I like it. Solo. In terms of enjoyment, I'm gonna put this below Attack of the Clones. This movie has no lightsaber duels or any kind of duel that's not just like punching. It doesn't feel like Star Wars. The movie itself is kind of generic and just doesn't have much to say. It just feels like they took Han Solo's arc that was in the original trilogy, and they tried to do it before, like chronologically before, so that honestly makes no sense why they would do that, but I don't know. It's alright, I guess. It's the story of how they got the Millennium Falcon and Han met Chewie, and I guess it's alright. The casting is good, I think, but aside from that, there's just not much in this movie, man. It's just kind of generic stuff that doesn't... I'm gonna be honest, this movie does not feel like canon. Where Rogue One feels like, yeah, this happened in this universe. This movie did not. It's not Han Solo. He really got his name from some random dude who's just like, Han Solo. I know Spanish. Really? No. That's stupid. The whole thing with his, like, love interest, and then she's evil or something. But then it feels like at the end she's supposed to be like redeemed. It feels like the movie wants to redeem her and seem like she's a good guy, and like we want to see more of her, but we don't really want to see more of her. And it feels like they're trying to I don't know. This movie is cluttered, pretty boring, not very good, okay? Lord and Miller's probably one of their worst movies. Visions, haven't watched it. Tales of the Empire, haven't watched it. Tales of the Jedi, haven't watched it. Bad Batch, haven't watched it. Boba Fett, haven't watched it. Clone Wars movie, haven't watched it. Currently watching the Clone Wars. It's pretty good. Season 1's a little slow. I'll have to see by the end how I like it. And let's get to the good stuff. Empire Strikes Back. I think this is probably the best movie in the Star Wars saga, and one of the best movies of all time. Along with these four up here, I think some of my favorite of all time. But yeah, this movie does so much well. It expands upon what was great about the first movie. It brings in new stuff, brings down cool characters like Yoda, especially is my favorite character. Everything feels like right. I like it. I like it a lot. And one second, where's Jar Jar? Jar Jar? Oh, found Jar Jar. Anyway, and I think where this movie really is at its best is on Dagobah, where Luke is training with Yoda. There's just so many inspirational themes and quotes in there, and where he lifts the X-Wing is just one of the most beautiful scenes of cinema. It's just inspiring, and then the music is just amazing. John Williams did a great job on Empire, with Yoda's theme especially. And yeah, I think everything flows together really well. The big reveal and the duel between Luke and Darth Vader is fantastic, and then the subplot with Han Solo and Leia is good, and the carbonite scene. Everything just feels like it flows well, like we're getting from one point to another, and these are things just happening along the way. I love Hoth. The whole opening scene is fantastic. And yeah, I love this movie. It's it's fantastic. It's a beautiful film. In my opinion, currently, I think it's probably the best. But let's move on. Okay, Force Awakens. I'm gonna have to put this above Solo, below Attack of the Clones. No, very nice. Technically, this should be in fanfiction charts, because that's basically what this is. You know what? I don't like this movie enough to get it up there. I don't respect it enough to have it up there. Fanfiction charts, okay? This movie, it's dumb. I bypassed the... Shut up, Rey. Rey is so freaking annoying. She is worse than Jar Jar. I'm sorry, Jar Jar, but you're not everyone's favorite. But she is worse than Jar Jar. She is so annoying. She's so good at everything she does for no reason. Like, she picks up a lightsaber and beats like a guy who's been training, who's trained by Luke Skywalker. Like the second best duelist in this entire saga. And she just beats him for some reason because she's never held one before, and she's just like, okay, I'm gonna beat him. I'm sorry. And also, you just kill off Han Solo like that. Disrespectful. It ruins the happy ending of Return of the Jedi. Makes Han Solo go back to his old ways and ruins the arc of the original trilogy. This movie is offensive and just a lot of cringe moments. Not as cringe as the other two, though. I think just because I don't think it's as bad as the other two, I have to put it in. I have to put it right here because it is fan fiction in my opinion. But yeah, I put it there because it's not as bad as the next two. And we got one of the worst movies I ever seen, Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Yikes, this movie is a disaster. It's more offensive than Force Awakens in many ways. It takes Luke Skywalker, the main character of the original trilogy, makes him look like a fat loser on some random island, and then it like makes him do like things he would never do, like stand over his nephew and like try to like chop him up with a lightsaber because he was giving off bad vibes. Really? That's why his nephew became like a Sith Lord, is because his uncle was standing there with a lightsaber trying to chop him up. It's so dumb. And then Rose and Finn are just so freaking annoying. Their whole subplot adds nothing to the movie, and it basically affects nothing. And Rey, of course, is just at her thing again, doing like these things that she shouldn't be able to do, but plot convenience. And then she goes to get trained by Luke Skywalker, and then doesn't get trained. And then for some reason, it's just like the strongest at the Force in like Star Wars history, and is amazing with a lightsaber. He's got the Force, you know. What? Okay, this movie is just so freaking dumb. Princess Leia's space flying scene is so funny though. Like where she's just like floating there, and she starts flying, and then it plays the Princess Leia theme, and I actually laughed at that. That was friggin' hilarious. You got Snoke, who could have been a cool villain, maybe. You just kill him off, because Kylo Ren is like working with Rey for some reason now, and for some reason they're talking through their minds, through the Force. Why? I don't know. And perhaps one of the worst parts of the movie is the stupid purple hair lady, who Oscar Isaac, or Poe Dameron or whatever, he's like, we need to like move the ship, we need to like actually do something. She's like, no, I don't want to, you're not in charge of me. And she's just like, she has no good points, and she's just being dumb. And then she decides, oh wait, we can use hyperspace to blow up a spaceship. Sure, okay. Then why didn't you do that with the friggin' Death Star and the Death Star 2? No, this movie is so dumb. It is friggin' stupid. I can't say anything good about it other than the music, I guess. And that one part where Rose hits Finn out of his, like, with a ship and with another ship instead of letting him go is so dumb. We're going Mandalorian. And, okay, The Mandalorian. Now, I'm basing this off the first 2 seasons. I haven't watched season 3, and I'm not going to, because everyone says it sucks. So, based off that, I'm gonna put it at the... in between Rogue One and Andor. Okay, I'm gonna say it's about tied with Andor, because Mandalorian has a lot of stuff I do like, and then some stuff I don't like. I think the villain is kind of generic in both seasons, and Baby Yoda feels a little like a toy seller. But I really like the emotional core with the fatherhood between Baby Yoda and Din Djarin, or whatever his name is. I think it's got some pretty likable characters, some standout episodes, especially with the one with Bill Burr, you know, the prison inmate where he has like that confrontation with a Imperial captain and then he kills him. I think that's a really good episode. There's a lot of good like adventurous episodes. That's what the show is. It kind of feels like less of a streamlined story than like just a bunch of little adventures here and there, and then conflicts as they happen along the way, which I like about it. It's a lot more casual and fun, but there's just some episodes that don't hit. You know, it just feels a little generic at times, but I really like it. I think there's a lot to like here. CGI Luke at the end of season 2 was a bit jarring, but it was okay. I didn't hate it. Like the ending of season 2, it was pretty sad. I liked it. And then for some reason they made season 3 like, just kidding, retcon. No, you don't do that. Anyway, moving on, The Phantom Menace. I think I'm gonna have to put this above Solo and Force Awakens, but below Episode 2. Here's why. Episode 1 doesn't get a lot done. It introduces us to our main characters that only one survives till the end of the film, really, or 2, including Padme, but it doesn't really set anything up. It sets up that the Emperor exists. He's the one sending Maul to try to sabotage the Republic and everything. But where I think Episode 2 does it better is it sets up a lot more. It sets up the Clone Wars and the clones being in control by Palpatine, yet nobody knows. It sets up Boba Fett's arc, as Jango Fett was his father, a clone of himself. And yeah, I don't think it does that well too. It actually gives us Anakin's beginning into the dark side. But the Phantom Menace is kind of missing movement. It has a lot of good scenes, I think. I think pod racing and Duel of the Fates are definitely my 2 favorite scenes. But there's just a lot of clutter in here, a lot of filler, and it feels a lot more like a Disney Channel episode or a Disney Channel movie. Like, we don't have enough money, so we're gonna have to do this pod race to get the money, and we're gonna win the bet so we can free Anakin, and just goes on for a little too long in my opinion. But yeah, I think it's alright. It's not great. I think it's kind of on par with Attack of the Clones, but the one problem is it doesn't get much done. Okay, since we have nothing in okay, then bud, I'm going to move these 2 up to there, just cause, you know, we can't have it empty. Anyway, final movie, and the final movie that they've made. Disney made. So we got Rise of Skywalker, S tier, best Star Wars movie. Now, I think this is probably the worst Star Wars movie. It is so stupid. It's so dumb. They decided to revive Palpatine. You wanna know why? You know how, I mean? Somehow. Just somehow. He returned. He's back. You know how? How'd he do that? Well, some things the Force can do is, unnatural. Good explanation there. So basically all this movie is just frantic running around and doing stupid crap while dropping random lines and then retconning deaths back and forth with Chewbacca. Lando Calrissian returns for some reason. And the only good part about the movie is Claude, who is the Glub Shido, you know, the man. You know him. Anyway, this movie's so dumb. There's so many bad lines in here. And Charlie from Lost is in this for some reason, right before somehow Palpatine returned. Okay, it feels like it was written by an 8-year-old. It's like, okay, so Palpatine come back, and Kylo Ren meets Palpatine. He's like, I want 1,000,000 spaceships, so he gives him 1,000,000 Star Destroyers. And it's so dumb. There's a lot of filler with like this random planet with Babu Freak or whatever his name is. And then the Tatooine scenes where they're like using the Force to like push a spaceship, and then she blows it up, and it's like, and then Finn just yells Ray a lot, and that's about half the movie. And then we got, they fly now? They fly now. They fly now. That's the stupidest scene. Maybe the stupidest scene of all time. But it's so dumb. Bad movie, actually. I'm gonna put this above The Last Jedi, only because it's less offensive. It doesn't do as much offensive things. It does one thing that I think is offensive. And it's the... Ray who? Ray Skywalker. No! You are not a Skywalker. Shut up. Anakin would like chop you up, Ray. And so would Jar Jar. Darth Jar Jar. Anyway, at the end of the day, the Lego Star Wars shorts from Cartoon Network in like 2011 or something. Better than all of these combined. Let's be honest. Anyway, I hope you guys liked the video. Had some fun talking about these movies. I really like a lot of these movies, especially the original trilogy and Revenge of the Sith. They're just really well-made movies, really immersive movies. Pack in a lot of emotion and fantastic scale, music, visuals, characters. But these 4 movies right there, I think they're nearly perfect movies. They execute what they're trying to do so well. They bring you into another world, which is one of the best things a movie can do in my opinion. And yeah, I just loved watching Star Wars movies. I didn't love the fan fiction, but you're gonna watch it, I guess, if you're a real Star Wars fan. Anyway, it was fun making this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
One eye open when I'm sleeping. One eye.
What the dog doing? Beep, boop, boop, bop, boop, boop. What?